Coming to Israel from Lebanon always astounded me. It seems so strange that people from these two lands, which are as close together as small counties in America, had generally never visited or experienced the other, except on missions of war or terror. And yet they seemed almost identical in so many ways, like brothers separated at birth who have lived in the same neighborhood for decades without realizing it. Israel as a country is only about the size of New Jersey, 250 miles long and between 9 and 70 miles wide. You can get anywhere in a matter of hours. Of course, there are significant differences between Israel and her neighbors. The Jewish state, while chaotic, is far more democratic, and the people much freer to speak their minds and live their lives than in many other parts of the Middle East. The capital, Tel Aviv, is modern and sprawling, with the vague feel of a Middle Eastern Santa Monica. As in Los Angeles, there is a vibrant urban scene, and plenty of traffic, too. As in California, life in Tel Aviv centers around the beaches, which are ranked amongst the best in the world for all kinds of ocean activities. Haifa is the largest city in northern Israel and its major seaport. Powered by solar panels, university educations, and a unique form of forward thinking, alien to other parts of Israel and the Middle East, Haifa is one of Israel's most peaceful and attractive cities. Prominent on the skyline and visible from everywhere in the region is the inspiring Baha'i Temple of Haifa, with its magnificent stepped gardens, a monument to tolerance between religions, and for me, a symbol as important as anything in Jerusalem. The Baha'i faith developed in 19th century Persia as a response to the general intolerance of Islam towards other faiths and points of view. Banned in Iran even today, the faith basically states that there is only one God, but there are multiple paths to God, and the diversity of faiths and cultures around the world should be respected and honored. The founder, Baha'u'llah, envisioned a series of houses of worship where people could enter equally from every faith to meet in the center. There would be doors of entry for Christians, Muslims, Jews, Hindus, Buddhists, Zoroastrians, and even for non-believers. Those uncomfortable giving up any part of their faith could sit further back, closer to the entrance doors. Those more willing to explore and unite with other faiths could meet towards the center. The temples are 9-sided in accordance with honoring all belief systems and are often architectural masterpieces. On the outside and inside, they are often adorned with the symbols of all faiths, including Christian crosses, Muslim star and crescents, and Jewish stars of David, amongst other Buddhist and Hindu symbols. There are very few sins in the Baha'i faith, but proselytizing is one of them. Trying to convince others that your religion is the one true religion is the biggest sin amongst Baha'is, and is thought to create great disharmony within mankind. For the 5 million Baha'is around the world, Haifa, Israel is an appropriate location. It is the secular capital of Israel, where Jews, Muslims, and Christians work together in relative harmony, largely without the burden of religious intolerance. If only the rest of Israel, or indeed the Middle East, could live by the ideology of Haifa. But alas, we all know this is not the case. Since I had last visited Israel, a new wall had gone up, marking the border between Israel and the Palestinian territories. Known by its admirers as the West Bank Barrier, and by its detractors by a variety of names including the New Berlin Wall or the Apartheid Wall, this structure will run for 430 miles upon completion, cutting off Israel from its own occupied Palestinian territories. Supporters of the wall claim it's an effective barrier against Palestinian terrorism. Since its construction, terror attacks in Israel have decreased by 85%. Detractors claim the wall does not follow the correct line of demarcation between the regions and cuts Palestinians off from their own farms and fields. In spite of the general dislike of the wall by most people I spoke to, it may have one positive effect. It may in fact be a first step towards establishing the borders of a separate Palestinian state, making negotiations and implementation much easier in the future. For now, however, the wall remains controversial. Of course, walls are nothing new to this part of the world. They virtually define the ancient city of Jerusalem, perhaps the most important single historical site on the planet for Jews, Christians, and Muslims alike. To visit Jerusalem is to be immersed in a world history lesson going back to the dawn of time. There are two cities here, the old city of Jerusalem with its Byzantine alleys, shops, and holy sites, and the new, modern city of Jerusalem where the majority of people live. Since my last visit nearly 20 years ago, a lot had changed in the new city of Jerusalem. A number of the most traffic-congested main streets had been turned into pedestrian walkways, a very pleasant change, and a modern trolley system had been added. A controversial new addition to the city was the construction of a giant rapid transit bridge in the shape of a harp at the entrance to Jerusalem, built at a cost of $70 million. Closer to the old city, Jerusalem had also undergone some major changes. New traffic patterns and an elegant shopping complex were now within a slingshot's throw of the old city walls. Once you move inside the walls of the old city of Jerusalem, you're transported back to the energy and locations of the Bible. The narrow alleyways and lanes provide an endless sense of wonder. There are 8 gates leading to 4 distinct quarters in the old city. The Damascus Gate is the most popular entrance to the famed Muslim Quarter. Arguably the most vibrant and colorful part of Jerusalem, the Muslim Quarter caters fully to tourists coming to its holy sites. The landmark Muslim monument of Jerusalem is the famous Dome of the Rock, which stands on the site of 2 earlier Jewish temples. Inside the dome is the famed rock where Abraham prepared to sacrifice his son Isaac before hearing the voice of God. The Jewish quarter of the Old City is spiritual home to Jerusalem's ultra-Orthodox population, known as Haredim. Jews from all over the world make their way to this quarter of the Old City to access the famed Western Wall, also called the Wailing Wall, the last remnant of the first and second Jewish temples which once stood here. In the Christian quarter, pilgrims from all over the world come to walk in the footsteps of Jesus, along the famed Via Dolorosa, tracing the route Jesus traveled bearing the cross. The path ends here at the Holy Sepulchre, the official site where Jesus was crucified. Pilgrims kneel and kiss the site where Jesus was taken down from the cross. Prayers and offerings are made to holy saviors and sacred dreams, as they are all across this city, by people of faith every day of the year. From Jerusalem, we continue in the footsteps of Jesus to the Galilee and River Jordan, ending our journey at the Dead Sea. Security involved in accessing it. You must pass several security checkpoints on the Jordan side to visit, and armed guards suspiciously watch the activities from both sides, just as Jesus would have wanted it. There are a million different holy sites, none of which are absolutely verifiable, but if they all have one thing in common, they all have a gift shop. As far as I'm concerned, my favorite gift is holy water, holy oil, holy earth, and holy incense. And the price? Holy cow. Oh, wait a minute. This is the dog do one. Where's the mud one? Okay, I'm getting completely covered with mud for my close-up. This is Dead Sea mud. It feels really icky. When you wash it off though, it's supposed to be fantastic, and I'm kind of looking forward to that moment. But for right now, I'm Mud Man.